Before I explain this graph right here, does any of this sound familiar to you? Not being able to create good and effective design ideas, not having enough time to work in the day, and feeling burnt out and just really tired in general. Yep, I myself have gone through all of these things multiple different times over and over again. And then I stumbled across this graph that, just like the title suggests, saved my graphic design career. This graph shows a percentage of tasks completed along the y-axis, and then hours along a single day on the x-axis below. And as you can clearly see, there is a steep uptick in productivity early in the morning, then a slight drop off around midday, and I have a hack for this later, and then a slow decline around 4 to 5 PM. But why did this graph actually save my graphic design career? And sponsoring today's video is an absolute must for graphic designers. It's where you can download over 55 million resources in Vato Elements. Learn more about that later in today's video. I just used to wake up and get on with things and do what I thought I needed to do that day. Sometimes I would have a brief kind of list, but that's about it. As my workload increased, I found myself increasingly burnt out, tired, feeling like the day had too few hours, and importantly, my creativity was being slammed into the ground. And then this wonderful simple graph entered my life. Now, it seemed to me that the optimum time for creative design work and generating just good ideas was from around 9 AM to 11 AM, and then again from 1 PM until 4 PM. Cool, but let's take things deeper with more structure. The graph shows a steady incline in productivity in the morning. So here's how I decided to organize my morning as a graphic designer. After I've taken a shower, brushed my teeth, stretched a little bit and all that good stuff, I will sit down and focus on the less creative tasks that I need to do. So that might be something like answering emails, organizing digital files, that sort of thing. I'm using this early morning window to get the least creative tasks out of the way, the kind of mindless, tedious things. It's also a really good idea to go over your plans for the day ahead. More about that later. But after I've done that for 1 to 2 hours, I will do a quick warm-up exercise. And no, I don't mean a workout kind of warm-up. So maybe just design a quick poster or manipulate a photo real quick in Photoshop. Just do something for 10 to 15 minutes that will be like a throwaway warm-up exercise. Trust me, this will help a whole lot. Now once you've warmed up, it's time to tackle the main design and creative side of your day. It's important to note that I have found that quality does override quantity, and it works best. It's better to spend less time on a design but for that time to be really creative, as opposed to spending more time on it and your design work being subpar. Okay, but what about this blip on the graph around lunchtime? Now this is likely where people stop for lunch. But for me personally, I have a quick little hack. The first thing I make sure that I do not do at lunch is to eat fast digesting carbohydrates. Now these are things like white bread, white rice, pasta and so on. And now I stay away from these for a very good reason. I bet you didn't think Satori was going to bring the nutrition tips in today's video. Fast digesting carbohydrates spike blood sugar levels. And this gives an instant boost of energy, but that boost of energy is short-lived. And then what follows is a crash of energy which will cause a slump in creativity. Instead, I eat something that either has limited to no carbs or something that contains slow digesting carbohydrates. Secondly, I get up and I move my body for at least 20 minutes. Now this is important so that I don't become stagnant, which actually makes people tired, believe it or not. And after that, it's back to the creative design work for me, and that's up until 4 to 6 PM depending on my schedule. Of course, there are always going to be exceptions, but this is what I typically do in general terms. At this time, I will take a short break, but I will then head back to work soon after. But it's not the kind of work that you might think. I use this time to do something very, very important, and that is to plan the next day ahead, or sometimes the next few days ahead. Having a list of the most important tasks that I need to do and it being structured very, very simply means that I won't be wasting my time and I won't be thinking, what do I do now? What do I do in 1 hour? And so on. I also use this time to tie up any sort of loose ends that I might have with clients, corporate sponsors, or any other matters. And for me, it's actually really important to unwind after a day of work and just simply relax. If I take into consideration my graphic design work, my YouTube stuff, investing in trading, and other things like selling digital products, I easily work 50 to 55 hours every single week, and that's just so you can gauge the kind of work I put in to get to where I am today. Think about your own life, your own energy levels, and just your graphic design routine. And then look at the graph and see if you can rework your day-to-day routine to fit the data and the peak times of creativity and productivity. A hell of a lot of being creative is just simply having the energy or the mental energy to do so. If your energy levels are low, then your creativity more than likely is going to be low. So yeah, thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Envato Elements. This is a great one-stop shop subscription service that I use personally on a daily basis. Now, as you can see here, they've added over 94,000 new assets this week alone, and there are over 250,000 motion graphics downloads. You can find a wide range of categories to look over, such as video, imagery, templates, and even fonts, as you can see here. And let me tell you, the font selection on Envato Elements is vast and awesome. But yeah, you can also find things like website design templates and app design templates too. And you're never going to run into trouble either because you own the rights to each download due to having a license when signing up for a paid subscription. And it works out to be less than $20 a month for the annual plan. And when you consider how useful this website is and how many downloads there are, it does work out to be really cost effective. And yeah, you can check out Envato Elements linked down in the description box below. Now, if you want to learn something else about this wonderful world of graphic design, just click a video on screen. And until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.